Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are setting the stage for what is, without a doubt, the ultimate heavyweight battle for control of the consolidated security market as we look toward 2026. We are looking at two absolute titans here, Check Point Harmony and Fortinet FortiSASE. On one side, you've got an architecture built on a deeply rooted, powerful hardware-integrated heritage. And on the flip side, a software-first approach driven by elite threat intelligence. It kind of comes down to this. One of these solutions is designed to save your budget, while the other, well, it's designed to save your sanity. Now, if you are an IT reader right now, you definitely know the pain of a fragmented enterprise security stack. It's a sprawling mess, right? A bunch of disconnected tools that simply do not talk to each other. And that leaves critical, gaping vulnerabilities in your network. So the core question we have to answer today is this. Which fabric actually kills this management sprawl? Is Fortinet's hardware-driven SD-WAN heritage the answer, or does Check Point's AI-powered prevention offer the true unified defense you actually need? We're going to pick proprietary ASIC performance directly against elite AI threat intelligence to see exactly which architecture secures a modern distributed workforce better. All right, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap. We're going to start with the security complexity crisis, break down Fortinet's hardware and speed, and then look at Check Point's AI threat prevention. After that, we'll put them in a head-to-head management versus performance showdown, and finally wrap up with our final security verdict. Let's get to it. Part 1, the security complexity crisis, and exactly why so many enterprises are basically drowning in vendor sprawl right now. So let's look at the reality of the 2026 enterprise environment. Honestly, it is completely defined by vendor sprawl. What usually happens is that IT leaders end up choosing their security tools based on outdated reputations. You might buy a SASE tool from one vendor and then an XDR tool from a completely different one. The result? You wind up with fragmented tools that don't communicate at all. And hey, this isn't just an administrative headache, it creates critical network vulnerabilities. Because when your defenses operate in silos, threats slip right through the cracks between them. If we want to truly secure a modern distributed workforce, we absolutely have to move past this best-of-breed chaos. This brings us to the ultimate prize in the market right now, the security fabric. This is the big paradigm shift we are evaluating today. A true security fabric is all about shifting away from that best-of-breed chaos we just mentioned and moving toward a unified, programmable defense layer. It's about having one single cohesive architecture spanning your entire enterprise. Now, both of our contenders are promising this exact thing, but they are taking wildly different architectural paths to get there. To figure out which one actually delivers on solving that fragmentation, let's meet our first contender. Part 2, Fortinet FortiSASE. Their approach is all about hardware and speed, really leveraging the raw power of ASIC integration. Okay, so the crucial thing to understand about Fortinet is their massive hardware-accelerated networking and SD-WAN heritage. Their architecture relies heavily on their proprietary SP5 ASIC chips. Why does a chip matter so much? Well, it allows Fortinet to maintain massive raw throughput even when you turn on full SSL inspection. That is a colossal performance advantage for sure. Plus, if you're already an existing FortiGate customer, Fortinet offers this incredibly seamless transition from traditional SD-WAN right into a modern cloud-delivered SASE model. And they wrap this whole package up with what they call universal ZTNA, Zero Trust Network Access. That basically means consistent policy enforcement everywhere, whether your user is sitting on a campus, at a branch office, or working completely remote. It's just a highly efficient, performance-driven machine. Moving on to Part 3, Check Point Harmony. This is a sharp pivot away from hardware. They focus heavily on AI threat prevention, specifically their Horizon AI and unified dashboards. This one phrase right here perfectly captures Check Point's entire architectural philosophy: prevention over detection. While Fortinet leans super hard into hardware integration, Check Point is a software-first, endpoint-to-cloud fabric. They are fundamentally obsessed with stopping threats before they ever breach the network, rather than just scrambling to detect them once they're already inside. And this is all powered by their latest Horizon AI threat cloud. In a landscape where the technical gap between hardware integration and cloud-native prevention is wider than ever, Check Point is essentially betting the house that elite threat intelligence is the ultimate key to securing a distributed workforce. So you might be wondering, how does Check Point actually fix that management sprawl we talked about earlier? Well, one dashboard. Literally a single pane of glass that manages mobile, endpoint, email, and browsing security. By consolidating all of those threat vectors into one unified interface, they drastically simplify the operational burden on your IT team. But It's not just about having a pretty, easy-to-use interface, because the single pane is constantly being fed by that Horizon AI engine. Check Point achieves incredible malware catch rates. We're talking superior performance in incredibly complex zero-day scenarios, especially when you compare them to more network-centric rivals. It's a really powerful combination of unified visibility and proactive threat blocking. Which brings us to part 4, the management versus performance showdown. This is where we pit these two 2026 architectural philosophies directly against each other. Let's look at the true total cost of ownership for distributed global fleets. On one hand, we've got Fortinet's FortiManager orchestration. This system absolutely excels at affordable hardware scaling. If you've got massive infrastructure needs, Fortinet lets you scale up that hardware incredibly efficiently and cost-effectively. But on the other hand, we have Check Point's Infinity Unified Policy Management. This approach totally wins on reduced operational overhead. By managing your policy across the entire software spectrum from one place, your team spends way fewer human hours configuring rules. So the hidden trade-off you really have to think about here is balancing your capital expenditure on hardware scaling against your operational expenditure on day-to-day management. Now, the way these two architectures handle modern threats is also completely different. The 2026 threat landscape is defined by massive surges in AI-generated phishing and highly encrypted malicious traffic hitting the network edge. Fortinet, they tackle this through brute force performance. Those SP5 ASIC chips we talked about allow them to decrypt and inspect all that edge traffic at lightning speed without tanking your network performance. Check Point, conversely, tackles this through proactive intelligence. They rely entirely on their AI threat cloud to identify and neutralize those complex phishing and zero-day attacks before they even require deep network inspection. It's a classic battle, raw speed versus intelligent prevention. And that brings us to part 5, the final security verdict. It is time to choose your consolidated future. Let's see how this all builds into our final judge's scorecard. This matrix breaks down exactly how IT leaders should actually make this decision. If your primary operational priority is raw networking performance and maximizing your infrastructure ROI, then Fortinet FortiSASE is the clear winner, driven entirely by those SP5 ASIC chips. It's absolutely perfect for environments where massive throughput is simply non-negotiable. However, if your top priority is risk mitigation, stopping complex zero-day threats, and minimizing your operational overhead through a single pane of glass, well, Check Point Harmony takes the lead there, powered by their unified threat intelligence and Horizon AI. Ultimately, there is no one-size-fits-all here. It entirely depends on what your specific distributed workforce actually demands. So, how do you move forward? Here's a quick 3-step roadmap for consolidating your security fabric. Step 1, you have to make a clear choice based on your specific performance requirements versus your complex threat mitigation needs, just like we broke down in the matrix. Step 2, begin aggressively consolidating your fragmented stack around your chosen architecture to finally eliminate that vendor sprawl. And step 3, ensure that as you transition to this new programmable defense layer, you maintain full network visibility and, this is key, do not sacrifice the end user experience. Remember, a security tool is literally only as good as its adoption rate. We'll leave you with this final thought. The gap between hardware integration and cloud-native AI prevention is wider right now than it has ever been. So take a really hard look at your 2026 readiness. Are you building your enterprise security fabric based on an outdated vendor reputation, or are you basing it on the modern reality of your architecture's true capabilities? Go evaluate your own stack today, figure out if you need raw ASIC speed or unified AI prevention, and start killing that management sprawl. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer.